And it's like the most magical place. We just stumbled upon it, and it's got a sauna and a swimming hole, and it's filled with prana, life force energy. And it's the perfect place for me to meet you. I thought I was going to meet you in Hawaii. So this is a great place. And I'm excited to learn more in depth from you. So these scrolls that we're talking about, the ancient scrolls, is this all sourced from Ayurveda? What are the name of the scrolls? And is this Ayurveda that we're speaking about?
Yeah, such a good question. Wow. You know, I didn't even know what Ayurveda was before I started this journey. So it's a really good question. Ayurveda, for those who haven't heard, it can be translated as the science of life. So, you know, in the West, we focus so much on curing things once we have them. But even Ayurveda is focused more on prevention. So what if you can prevent the sickness before it starts? You know, one of the people I interviewed for this book, his name is Dr. Ludwig Max Fischer, a professor from Germany. He told me that certain doctors in ancient China, you pay them as long as you're healthy. As soon as you get sick, you stop paying your doctor.
Wow.
You know, doesn't that make more sense? That way they're incentivized to keep you healthy. They don't go out of work when you're healthy. You know? So this particular healing modality is called Siddha Veda. It goes a step beyond Ayurveda in certain ways I'll talk about. And those ancient manuscripts are written in 4 or 5 different languages, Sanskrit, and like 4 or 5 languages that capture the essence of how anyone can have vibrant health, unlimited energy, peace of mind, how it's really our bodies. It should be easy for us to live to at least 100 with young, you know, feeling young. You can be young at any age, according to Dr. Ram. And one example about that I was going to share, in this book, there's a story. This is a crazy story. Oh my goodness, I'll show you their picture. So, well, first of all, I went to Italy with Dr. Naram. I just got off the phone with Dr. Giovanni, who's amazing. And there was this elderly couple. The subtitle of this section is, "Can you have better sex life in your 80s than newlyweds do?" You know, so here I am, like really kind of shy and embarrassed. And then all of a sudden, this elderly couple comes up to be interviewed. And she talks about how, like, this grandmother was talking with such innocence about how excited she was that they were making love 3 times a week. You know? But then right after this, oh, here you can see Dr. Ram with her and just laughing, just so happy. This was after years and years of not being able to express love in that way. You know, so then she was just celebrating it, celebrating life. You know, she's like, what good is it? Pizza, pasta, and I can't express my love for my husband. You know, it's so funny. So then I get interviewed this woman who's 56 years old, had been in menopause for 6 years, something like 6 years, and came to Dr. Ram saying, you know, I have a boyfriend now. He's younger than me, and we want to have a baby. And Dr. Ram's like, very good. And Dr. Giovanni pulled Dr. Ram aside, like, what do you mean very good? Not very good. You know? But what happened is Dr. Ram told a couple of stories, one about another woman in Paris, another woman that he had helped. And one of the stories, which was so fun, is, oh yeah, here it is. It's amazing. Basically, there was I want to see if I can find this. Oh yeah, oh man. There's a woman who came and had the same desire. She had already been in menopause for several years. And she said, you know, Dr. Jesus appeared in my dream and he told me to come to you and that you could help me have a baby. And Dr. was like, well, Jesus appeared in your dream, not my dream. What am I supposed to do? You know, he had never helped anyone do this before. But he went to the manuscripts, these manuscripts, and he found, what is this formula Amrapali was using? And he started giving it to her, and she was amazed. Her period started coming back again. Then I interviewed these 2 women, one who was 56 and another who was 51. Both had menopause for many years, and their periods started coming back. The one who was in Paris that I interviewed, not only her period started coming back, and she called Dr. Ram. She's like, first of all, she's like, guess what, Dr. Ram? He's like, what? She's like, I have cramps. He was all excited about having cramps again. And he's like, oh, he was so excited. He's like, keep taking the remedy. She kept taking the remedy. Then she called. She's like, oh, my period started coming back. She was in tears. Dr. Ram said he wanted to jump with, dance with joy. Then she said, but Dr. Ram, I have another big problem. He's like, what? She's like, I don't have a boyfriend. This is the woman in Paris. He's like, what do you want me to do about that? And so she actually went the route of using modern medicine, artificial insemination, and having her own cycle. And then she had this beautiful baby. I don't know if you can see this picture here. I was able to interview her and talk to her story. She says, I finally feel complete.
Oh.
So when Sara is talking about unicorns, who in their mind would honestly say that someone in menopause can come out of it and then have a baby? Like, it doesn't make sense logically to our Western brains, but there I saw evidence of it. And I've interviewed many, many women who, not every woman, for some women having their period again is like, they're like, no, I do not want that. Don't give me that remedy. But for everyone, they want to feel youthful. You want to have energy. You want to feel that spark of life. And you want to do what you love. You want to do what you want, what you choose. So the beautiful thing is these ancient secrets of Ayurveda, was such a great question, are more about how do you customize how do you choose the path of your life? Dr. Ram said 95% of people don't know what they want. 95%. 3% know what they want, but they can never achieve it. 1% know what they want and they achieve it, but they never enjoy it. With Dr. Ram, I met so many billionaires, millionaires, famous movie stars, big politicians, and you'd be surprised, not very much happiness, because in the process of succeeding, it was toxic. They got health problem, relationship problem, kid problem. One of the richest men in the world, actually, cash rich, his grandkids wouldn't even talk to him or acknowledge him. They'd just be on their devices only when they wanted something. So toxic success. So Dr. Ram says there's 1% of people know what they want, they achieve it, and they enjoy it. And that's what the Ayurveda secrets can help you with. It can help you go beyond just physically feeling good. And then when you're feeling good, when you're alive, what are you going to do with that energy? What are you going to do with that life? What are you going to do with that vibrancy? Great questions.
It's so like just letting it, I want to repeat it again for everyone. What he's saying is really like grasping that in your mind. I know each and every single one of us on this call are dealing with some sort of something in our life. And it's not, he'll even talk to you about, or you can read in the book as well, about manifesting your life and using these tools and techniques to see, what you want to call forward and what is your life path and how to create it. But just on a physical level. So it does not matter what you're physically experiencing right now. There is a solution for it. There is things that you can do, and really let that sink in, that you guys, it's up to you guys. It's anyone else who's watching this later. It's up to you to do the work to find these ways, but they do exist. And Clint, you're just such a beacon of light for showcasing all of these true miracles that you've witnessed. Thank you for sharing those stories.
I'm so glad you brought this point out. Oh, go ahead. Someone was going to ask you a question.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as the only old lady in the group here, I don't want a period, but a 30-year younger man. That sounds wonderful, Clint. Thanks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very possible. especially someone as beautiful as you, Linda. So gorgeous you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to say what Sara is talking about, and even that beautiful comment by Linda, so much is possible. And for everyone on this call, who feels like they're going through a pretty big transition in life right now? You have some big shift or big change or big struggle. You notice there's something happening. So a lot of us on planet Earth are experiencing some big transition. And at first it can look scary. Dr. Ram, he talks about focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want, and being a creator instead of a consumer of experience. So right now, if you're watching the media, if you're talking to your friends, if you're hearing from your family, lots of times they're feeding you fear. They're trying to sell you fear, anxiety, stress, and you can buy that. You can consume their fear. And then you only have a certain amount of solutions available to your mind in that space, in that vibration of fear, anxiety, stress. Or you can be a creator of your experience by focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. And there's a powerful way. Dr. Ram, he says that whatever challenge, heartbreak, obstacle you face has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. I was just on a podcast where the man was saying, I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at this thing. I'm angry at the politicians. I'm angry at this and this and this. I was like, well, I'm not going to try and take away your anger, but in that space, there's only certain things you can see. Only certain amount of solutions are available to you. I was like, but if you can switch to a different, emotional, because food, your diet isn't only the food you feed your mouth, but it's the thoughts you think, it's the things you listen to, it's your emotions that you dwell on. Part of the miracle experiment game is actually infusing your life with more gratitude, because there's so much to be grateful for as well. And if you're in a space of gratitude, you actually have a different solution set. It's not like you ignore the injustice, but how you address it depends on if you're coming from anger or you're just coming from a space of wanting to help. There's a woman, I'm just going to share this story real quickly, from Slovenia. She watched the TEDx talk and then got the book, and she started reading it. All the power went out in her house. And there's a big thunderstorm happening. So she went to get the flashlight in the bathroom, and walking past the bathroom mirror, she saw the lightning strike and looked in the mirror and saw her face all distorted. And she said that's how she felt inside. Like she felt ugly, like she didn't belong on this planet, like she didn't want to be here. She got the flashlight and she started reading the book, and her audio message, I kept it because it makes me cry actually. She's like, if I had a hat on right now, I'd take it off. She says the first 100 pages, I just had tears in my eyes. And by the time I got to the end, I realized I don't have a health problem, but no matter what is my problem, there's a solution. It may be different than what I'm expecting. I may have to open up my mind and open up my heart, but there's a solution. And part of the gift of this moment is going to, we don't want to go back to the same normal. We want to go to a different future that's much better. And so you can say, what is the gift? What is in whatever challenge, heartbreak, or obstacle you're facing has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. If that's true, which I really believe it is, then what is the benefit of this moment? And what is your calling? What is it, your role? And you don't have to do anything you've done in the past. What would you choose to do at the future? So thank you, Sara, for bringing that out. And if it's to have a 30-year younger boyfriend, yeah, why not? There's 7 billion men, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Surely there's at least a few thousand that would love to be with a woman as amazing, confident, talented, beautiful as you, Linda. Because if that's a real desire, it's so possible.
Oh, actually, I have a husband.
Minor details.
Younger one.
Well, maybe you want to have a husband and a boyfriend. I don't know. Whatever.
I want to encourage.
Sarah's like, no, this is going the wrong direction. Not these kind of unicorns.
Go the other way. Oh, leave it to my mom for the laugh. I love this topic that you're speaking about because it's victim versus responsible. And each and every single one of us, we've talked about this in the class, so we're all familiar with this language. And I love the quote by Marie Forleo, everything's figure outable. Like, she wrote this book, like, there's always a solution unless you don't want it bad enough. And that's what you're talking about, Clint. Like, if we see things, even like everybody in here knows, like, this last year for me has been incredibly challenging, especially my mom. It's been really hard for me. And to center and to say to myself what you're talking about, where's the gifts here? Where can I grow? How can I use this to help other people? And especially with my health ailments, I've used that, and I now help other people to heal whenever I've overcome my own. So whatever challenges we are facing, that's the mindset, Clint, that there is a solution and there is something we can do about it.
Oh, so beautiful. And instead of coming from fear, anxiety, I call this a love story because it was love. It was really love for my father that pushed me beyond what I thought was logical into this world in which miracles happen. That woman in Slovenia, she fell more in love with herself as she read it. And I realized that instead of coming from fear, if you just lean into the love, you think about someone you love, or someone who loves you, and that's inside of you, and you lean into that and you see, where does that lead you to? I think it'll be a much more enjoyable experience than reacting with fear, anxiety, stress to all the possible hypothetical negative futures that could happen for us and those we love in the world and our countries, you know.
Absolutely.
One of the reasons why we keep having the same challenges over and over again is because we're not learning our lessons or finding out what is the blessing in each situation. And that's what causes the cycle of like, didn't I already learn this? Well, did you get your lesson yet? Did you figure out why it was a blessing? If not, then you're going to get that lesson again.
I think we talk about this, like the universe whispers at first, and then it speaks, and then it yells. Things keep increasing. And that's probably what you see, Clint, is when we've allowed our emotional traumas to morph into cancer. That's the universe yelling, like we haven't dealt with our emotional trauma. We aren't dealing with the things around us. We're in avoidance. So we're segmenting right into that. Like, what are some of the things that we can do outside of, I mean, I highly suggest, if you guys haven't already, buy his book. It's amazing. It's really inexpensive on Amazon. We have 3 copies in this house. Thank you, Mama, for our 3rd. And there are things you can do in that book right now that he's put in there. And the stories are just so moving. And if you know anybody struggling in your life, sharing this book is saving lives and giving people hope. So I know there's as well, before I ask for some like tips and things that we can start doing in our own lives. In general, Dr. Naram suggested certain foods, certain ways of like, is there like some step-by-steps that we can take with us to start our journey?
Yeah, such powerful questions. Yeah, you had mentioned one thing that reminded me of this quote in chapter 13, I think it is. And I'm talking to Dr. Giovanni about certain cases, and I don't know if you can read this, but Dr. Naram, he says that 90% of our problems come from emotional wounds or trauma from childhood. Isn't that interesting? Like 90% of even our physical problems, like Reem was talking about, you know, we didn't learn the lesson, or we haven't healed it, and so it's going to come out. Even if there's a physical pain in our leg, it's like a check engine light, you know, or we start to get headaches. It's like saying, no, there's something deeper you need to listen to and pay attention to. And so, first of all, listening to your body, your mind, your emotions. Your natural state is health, vitality, happiness, peace of mind. That's your natural state. So if you're not there yet, then you can think, okay, how do I get back to my natural state? You know, it's letting go of anything that's not that, you know? So, because that's who you are naturally. Your body is a self-healing miracle machine, you know? And it's amazing what your body just does naturally. It's crazy. And your mind and your emotions and what you can create and what you can do and what's possible. So a lot of it's letting go of things that aren't serving you anymore. In fact, on this last miracle experiment group, I walked people through a process of letting go that Dr. Naram taught me, that he used how to let go of his anger to his father. His father was really abusive. I mean, you can imagine, you know, the trust falls, where you have someone fall and then you catch them, and then they're like, you know, you can trust. His dad says, okay, I want you to fall right now and just trust that I'm going to catch you. So Dr. Naram, as a little kid, fell back to fall into his father's arms, and his father pulled his arms away. He hit the ground. And his dad said, that's to teach you can never trust anybody. How messed up. And when you're a little kid, what happens to your brain? You know? And so Dr. Naram, a lot of stuff, who was physically, mentally abused, really, by his dad, and had a lot of this anger, lots to let go of. And his master walked him through a certain ancient process on how to let go of those things that aren't serving you anymore. So that way you have space to open up and see, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? I just walked people through this process, and there was a man from Romania, had a grievance, a guilt, this kind of a real hard experience 35 years earlier when he was a kid. And he said that he hadn't seen the family for 20 years, but he did the whole process, this let go process, what I can teach you sometime. And then he said his wife was watching him as he did the whole process, completed it, and he said, okay, let's go for a walk. So they're walking in the park, And the dad of this family that he hadn't seen in 20 years shows up at the park 20 minutes after he did the let go activity. And his wife is watching. After a 5-minute conversation, this 35-year pain totally disappeared. You know? So when you're talking about unicorns are real, you know, mystical miracles of love and healing can happen for all of us on this call. You know, for you, Sarah, Lindsay, for Sean, Christelle, for Pavan. I love seeing you here. For Reem and Linda, for Christelle, Jackie, Jonelle, and everyone listening to the recording. Whatever is the pain and the struggle that you're facing, the challenge that you're facing, you're equal to it. It's a gift for you. Really, it is. Because if you don't see the divine you, and somehow by going towards this thing and letting go of it, you're able to see more of what's possible in your life. You know, really how glorious you are and how glorious your life can be. And it's easy to say those words, but it's a really beautiful experience to let go of certain stuff, you know? And then instead of focusing on what you don't want, even subconsciously, focus on what you do want and then see it happening.
It's really important to do that work. Lindsay's doing emotion code. I don't know if you've heard of emotion code yet.
I haven't.
But it's a powerful practice where she can help you remotely to release trapped emotions. And
wow.
I went through 2 sessions, and she picked up on the exact dates when the emotion got stuck, and I could, oh my gosh, like, how does she know this? And I've also, some of my clients have taken it with her, called me crying afterwards, that, you know, like, she picked up on all these things. Within minutes, what the ailment that I was dealing with was gone. And I felt like such a deep release, because we are energetic beings. We are made up of energy. This is scientifically proven. It's not just woo-hooey. And when we have a trauma and we shove that trauma in our body and we suppress the trauma and we haven't dealt with the trauma, even if you're not necessarily dealing with physical ailments, that trauma is still part of what I call your trim tab that directs the whole boat. And if you have this subconscious part of you that is manifesting and recreating this trauma, it's going to perpetuate into your future. So if you haven't dealt with and worked through that, and that's what you're talking about, really releasing it, and like that guy did in the park, can help you to create the future that you want.
Oh, so beautiful. I'm so glad you're doing that work, and so glad, Lindsay, that you're stepping into that. It's so beautiful. What a gift.
Thank you so much. I just want to add, I've been reading the book by David Hawkins called Power versus Force. And I shared a screenshot of a quote. So he was working with people, healing them as well. And he has miraculous healing stories of patients who were basically deemed dead, or like they have no hope, no one can help them. And so he says, so he had a patient who was basically had no hope. And he goes, "What do you want me to do with her, God?" And he says, "I then realized that I was just to love her. That was all. Her inner self shone through her eyes, and I connected with that loving essence in that second. She was healed by her own recognition of who she really was. What happened to her mind or body didn't matter to her any longer." And then he says, "I saw that all pain and suffering arises solely from the ego and not from God." So it just really reminds me of what the work that you're doing in Dr. Naram. It's just incredible in bringing us back to our essence. We're so deeply conditioned in this culture, especially in America, of self-sabotage, self-hatred, self-abuse. And so it's really letting go of all this dense energy in order for us to elevate and let go of these pains and these traumas. Exactly what you guys have been saying, that just keep us back in life. So thank you both for this work.
Oh, so beautiful. Yeah, that's why I started when you open the book, the very first quote is, "I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you, and love will teach you." You know, because really we don't have anything to learn. We just discover what we know, and usually it's getting back to that essence. You know, I love that. So powerful. What a powerful quote you shared, Lindsay. Anybody have any questions? How can I be most helpful? How much time do we have left, and how can I be most helpful in this time?
You have 20 minutes. I want to know some pressure points. Can you teach us how to, it is like how to, I know there's the miracle of manifesting and getting into that practice of gratitude and seeing the miracles. And he has a group that you guys can join. He keeps repeating this group and you become a part of the 30-day miracles. But before we jump into like how they can connect with you later, I would love, like, I'm going to share with everyone Dr. Naram's suggested foods. I think, of course, in general, he's not a big fan of gluten, right? Dairy, so get anti-inflammatory. But what are some of the pressure points that we can start doing right now that will help us to see, you know, what we really want in life or how to create the things we want? Like, give us some fun things to do, please.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good idea. So in of the 6 instruments of Siddha Veda, the 6 secret keys of Siddha Veda, one of them is called Marma Shakti, and I never heard of it before. So as a skeptic, it sounded weird. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm seeing this master healer press these points on certain. Actually, the first time I was in India, I saw this little girl, autistic girl. She hadn't spoken. She was 12 years old, never spoken in her life. Dr. Naram started pressing certain points on her body in just a certain way. I was like, this is weird and ridiculous. And then he did this thing to her after pressing certain points here, 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 and just went like this. And he said, say mommy. And she said, mommy. Oh my goodness. The room applauded. The mom was in tears. It was really amazing. I saw people in wheelchairs, come in wheelchairs, and they've been in wheelchair for a long time. Press certain points on the back, press certain points like this, and then they start walking again after years. I was like, this is crazy. People with back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, kids that are so autistic, ADHD, that they're kind of violent, you know, and the life for the parents is so difficult. And he would teach them how to press certain points so they would just calm down and just gain. And at first I'm like, this is so weird. I don't understand how this can be working. You know, we have such expensive tests and medications and surgeries and drugs, and how come certain points on your body can have such a different impactful effect, even bringing people out of coma? And then he explained it to me this way. He said, look at the room right now. You could touch the wall anywhere. You could even punch the wall. It wouldn't do anything. But then you find the little light switch and you touch it so gently and all the room changes, you know? And you press it gently again and all the room changes again. So these ancient masters, they knew which points on our body have certain effects. Like if you squeeze my wrist so hard, as hard as you can, it would just be uncomfortable, but I wouldn't die. But if you squeeze me here as hard as you can, I may die. So this is a different characteristic of the body than here. It has different qualities to it. So I want to teach you, because everyone is facing some sort of stress in their life. Sometimes emotional stress will hit you. Something a partner, ex-partner will tell you is going to hit you. Something your kid is going to, in fact, I just read an article. This woman who's a part of the miracle experiment game, she said her child just said, Mom, I wish you were never my mom. I hate you. You know, when someone says like that and it jolts you, or a best friend says something horrible, or you find out some news, or you're listening to the narrative of the media, and it just is filling you with fear, anxiety, frustration. You're feeling the injustice. You feel like everyone's cheating. Whatever it is, whenever you feel those emotions, how about I teach you something where in minutes you can just calm that anxiety and ground yourself so that you come with more clarity, and then you can just decide what to do from there. How about that one?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, this is a really powerful one, really powerful, and you can do it anywhere. And you can do it because as long as you just have your hands. So first of all, what you do is you take your left hand and you put it behind your head like this. And then with your right hand, you're going to press with your pointer finger right under your nose, kind of between your nose and your upper lip. And as you press, you're going to breathe in really deep. And as you unpress, you're going to exhale. So inhale, exhale. And we're going to do that 6 times. Let's do it together. First of all, just notice how you feel right now. Just notice how you feel. And then, okay, I'm so excited for this. All right. So as you press, breathe in deep. All right, ready? 1, breathe in. All right, 6 times. Okay, now you're going to take that same left hand, point it up. Your palm is on the back of your head. Take your right hand, your palm here, and then you curve all the fingers around like that. So it kind of cups on your head. So you have all 10 fingers, like your 8 fingers and thumbs and your palm, and then you press gently 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're gonna do that, both of those again one more time. So take your left hand and press here. As you're pressing, breathe in. So we'll go once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then keep that left hand there, your right hand up, and curl the fingers around. And you just squeeze 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. You can keep doing this, repeating it. You'll get more and more calm. Like even right now, I can tell I feel a little bit high, a little bit like lifted. But you'll notice it just grounds you. And then afterwards, you go like this with these fingers, 2 fingers down, and you touch your thumb to your pinky and your ring finger. And you do it with both hands. You got that? It's a little tricky.
So your first 2.
So first of all, you have these, and you put your pointer finger and your middle finger down, pointer finger and middle finger down, and then touch your thumb to your pinky and your ring finger.
Okay.
And then you just have them on your lap, and you close your eyes, and you just breathe deep, and you can just feel. Even I feel like whatever stress just kind of drains out of the bottom of your feet into the floor. You can just feel it. It just reduces all that vata the vata wind energy from your head through your body, down through the floor, and just kind of soaks out of you into the earth and just taken. Something else, can I teach you another fun thing about this one you just did? This is a crazy one. I was on a road trip with Dr. Naram in India, rural India. We're going to go look at where the herbs came from that go into the formulas. And there's women that don't have any jobs. And so they were collecting the herbs or harvesting the herbs. And so they get, a big livelihood from this. And so we're going to meet them and see where the herbs were being harvested. Now we're on the road. Does anyone else get car sick sometimes? Like when you're bumping a lot? And so in India, the traffic is crazy. Stop and go, goats crossing, cows crossing, everyone crossing, potholes. And I'm turning my head around because I'm trying to talk to Dr. Naram. And I didn't realize what a bad idea that was, because I started to feel really sick. And then I'm like, holy smokes, I'm about to throw up here. This is not good. So I said, can you pull over? And Dr. Ram's like, why? I was like, I'm about to throw up. And he's like, do you want to learn a secret? I was like, okay. He's like, just do this experiment, see what happens. So he had me do this. He said, face forward, do this Marma, close your eyes and just take some deep breaths, but face forward. So I faced forward. I just kind of lightly closed my eyes, took some deep breaths. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, I know my body. And if there's a 3-hour drive like that, I'm going to throw up. So I might as well, but this just drained all of that anxiety, all that anxiousness out of my body. And then I didn't throw up the whole time. Later, I was on an airplane. And sometimes the turbulence is like this. The turbulence was so bad. And I just started seeing people reach for the barf bag, from the front. So I saw about 3 people reach for it. And I was going like this. And then all of a sudden I saw the person next to me reach for the bag. I was like, oh, I should teach them how to do this thing. I was like, I should probably teach them. But then I felt so stupid. I felt weird. Because how is it going to make sense to anyone? So I didn't. I just did this. And then within like a couple of minutes, they started throwing up in the bag. But even with them throwing up in the bag, and you kind of get that smell or whatever. Oh. Like normally there's a chain reaction. I was at one party once where one person threw up and then another person and then another. It's like a whole domino effect of this.
Oh, no.
It was so gross. But in this particular case, he threw up, but I was doing this. I don't know, but I think maybe it's impossible to throw up when you're doing this Marma. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Yeah, because it just grounds whatever is that thing that's going up. It just kind of brings it down like this. Yeah.
So they're points in the body that help us to heal and release energy and move energy, right? Like these are specific points and ways that we can touch and discover and process.
Yeah, there's some to help remove blocks. There's some to help give you, like this one, Dr. Ram, how did he see 100 to 300 people a day? He'd go in the bathroom and he'd also do this. It gives you energy, you know? There's also one for immunity. If you want to know how to boost your immunity during any time, you actually on your left hand, you see it halfway between your elbow and your wrist, right here in the middle, right there, you press 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a very powerful, very simple thing you can do.
And
so there's all kinds of things.
Should somebody do that? Like how often,
Many
like
times.
the immunity?
Whenever you remember to do it. You can do 6 to 9 times a day, or just whenever you remember. So easy, it just takes 10 seconds. You just have to remember to do it.
Amazing.
And if you have autoimmune issues, is it okay to do that?
Oh yeah, also,
If you have
there's also, Dr. Ram was so good with autoimmune stuff. So good. So there's certain herbs, certain diets, certain home remedies. If you want to, I can give a link. You can get a phone consultation with one of the doctors here at the clinic in India. And it's ridiculously cheap. It's like $15 or $30 for the consultation. The best money you'll ever spend. And they can personalize treatment for you. You want me to put that link in the chat?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
Can you send it over in Messenger as well? Because once this video goes away, the chat won't be there. And I know I was just, when I was in Hawaii, I was talking to somebody who was very interested in getting some of Dr. Naram's herbs as well. So are we allowed to share this number?
Yeah. This is a special link. You actually just click the link and then you can get access. And I'll share it right now also in the what's in the other chat.
Thank you. If you guys, when you read the book, you'll come to understand that where and how these herbs are sourced is mind-blowing. Like there's certain plants they only cut at midnight on a full moon, and it was ancient. It was an ancient practice, but they've actually proven with science now that there is a reason to that the plant was more potent during that time. So that's where and how these herbs are being sourced. And Dr. Naram is very excelled in alchemy. So he knows this is using ancient wisdom on what plants to put together, what plants not to put together. I personally have seen Dr. Naram for a chronic ear issue that I had. My ears would clog for weeks at a time anytime I sneezed wrong. And I have not had an issue since doing what Dr. Naram told me to do. I've put in the group with Dr. Naram. Yeah. If you guys get COVID, so there's a ton that obviously we don't have Clint, we only have him for 10 more minutes. We want to get the juiciest best we can out of him, but there's so much that Clint has put up on YouTube. So if you follow his YouTube channel or go to his Facebook page, he's putting out all sorts of fun things and ways that you guys can practice this at home. So in our last 10 minutes, what is there a few more points, or is there some things you want to leave us with?
Can we do one for digestion?
Yeah, I want to take any questions or suggestions.
I was wondering if you can do one for digestion. I know how important the emotions are, but then once we're dealing with emotions and then we start, we know that almost all of our health issues in the body, in the Amaya Kosha, that's where a lot of the illness also arises from in the physical manifest form. So if we're not digesting properly, if this is my understanding, then we're not going to support cellular turnover in a positive way. So can you give us some points for digestion?
Wow, you're so wise. How do you know so much? Yeah, it's really important. Dr. Naram says really that's the whole thing, is digestion. A big part of Siddha Veda and this ancient science is how do you have such a good digestion? Because if you have good digestion, you have good immunity, you can digest any toxins, it doesn't become blocks, it doesn't go to become, joint pain, or it doesn't block and become cholesterol or diabetes or whatever kind of problem. So how do you have a really strong digestion? Actually, one thing that we did, this is such a cool story, and it's just recent too. We did something called a mung soup challenge. Okay, and it's just for 7 to 10 days. You just do this challenge where what you eat when you're hungry is mung soup. Okay, so if you haven't heard of mung beans before, there's these green pulses, And there's a recipe that I'll send you the link for as well, Sarah. I'll send it in your, it's just it's actually in the book too. It's in chapter 11, and it's such a tasty recipe. You just love it. And you know what's so interesting is my mom she's known about me doing this for 10 years, but has never done this challenge. And it was only as a part of the Miracle group, she heard this girl from Brazil named Luisa, who did the Hmong challenge and did the home remedy in here for joints. And she said that she had stage 4 knee degeneration and big pain. And she was young too, like 30 something. She did the Hmong challenge and did the home remedy, and then went back to her doctor. And first of all, she's like, I don't have any pain. And he did the tests, and it did reversed from stage 4 to stage 2 degeneration. No more pain. She's walking, running. My mom heard that story just yesterday. My mom called me on the phone. She's like, guess what, Clint? I want to share a miracle with you. I was like, what? And we just started this challenge just barely on last Sunday. She's like, I've been doing the Hmong challenge for only 3 days, and I was walking to my neighbor's house, and I realized, oh, I don't have any pain in my right knee anymore. And I was like, wow. She's like, yeah, I don't know. She said before she'd just kind of halfway do it. You know, she just partially do it. But she realized that when you're only eating Hmong, it's not just about eating the Hmong, but it's also all the things you're not eating. There was a doctor, Stephen Wexler, that told us about that. But she said when she heard this girl from Brazil tell her story, she thought, I can do that. And so, and then she did it. And it was like a domino of miracles, because then she started telling all her friends, and her friends are like, I think I should start doing that thing, you know? So when it's your own family that has this kind of results, oh, it's so priceless. You know, it's so priceless. And I could have told her all I wanted to, but she learned it through someone else that inspired her. I'm so grateful for that.
I just did the mung bean for 3 days straight. That's all I had. I was having my digestion went off, and I did it. And then I did papaya for 3 days straight after that. Like, that's all I ate was papaya, mint, and raw ginger. And I'm telling you, if I showed you guys the before and afters, and I did an emotion code session, but my stomach went to perfect. And I was spitting up foam, and I was having because my gut bacteria gets off. So I've done it, and it worked for me. I do put that, I gave it to the group. Your Dr. Naram's bonus foods is inside of my syllabus, so everybody gets to see it. But we don't have that recipe, so please share it with us.
Yeah, I'll share that link, but it really helps with your digestion, and digestion is so important. You're so wise to say that. It's the engine. It's the whole engine. If your digestion is good, then your joints will be good, your mind will be good, your emotions will be good. You know, your body feels young, flexible. Dr. Ram said you can be 100 years young or 20 years old. How can you be 20 years old or 100 years young? And he said it all depends upon flexibility. He says you can be 20 years old if you're physically rigid, mentally stubborn, and emotionally dry. Or you can be 100 years young if you're physically flexible, mentally alert, willing to learn, and emotionally full of love. You know? And one of his secret keys in the whole book to living a long age, to being young at any age, is having a really good digestion. So the foods that you intake, it makes a big difference in that. And Hmong is like a secret weapon of that. Also ghee too.
This is so
great.
Powerful. Anybody else have questions for him? Oh, sorry, Clint.
No, I was gonna ask the same thing.
I feel like I've been hogging you, but I just want to say thank you. You're amazing. I look forward to connecting with you again. And if there is a Marma point for digestion, if you could quickly show us that too. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, and can they connect with you later? Like, are you offering private sessions? Maybe you can think about that question and let me know like what you would charge for a donation or how that might work, because we all want more Clint answers.
I'm available to you, not during the month of August. August 1st to 31st, I'm just offline, and I'm kind of just leaving it as a blank slate. Like, I really don't know what I'm going to walk into after that. I've just completed this 10-year journey And for those that don't know, even Dr. Ram left his body. He's still with us so clearly, and so many miracles happening all over the place. But it leaves me in a space of, oh, wow, how am I going to be used from here on out? And so I'm excited about this silence. I always respond if people need help in one way or another. If you have a personal health question, that link is a great one just to click on, just because then they can personalize all the help to you. And yeah, those who want to join the Miracle Dream Team and help share this message and see miracles happen in your life, so many cool things can happen, you know, from joining that. Or if you want to join the 30-day miracle experiment game, those are also good ways. I've trained miracle mentors, and actually I do a training group for anyone that wants to be a better writer or a speaker. That was one of the things Dr. Ram, I mean, I didn't know he was training me in this, but it's an interesting point, because you have medicine that's a quick fix, like the Western medicine. You don't have to be that strong of a communicator, you know, because you just give them it and then they do it and then they start to feel better. But if you're giving someone a diet or certain home remedies, you have to do for sometimes weeks at a time or months before they see a result. You have to learn how to communicate really well, so someone is totally enrolled in that process, especially since the first week, sometimes you feel worse than you did before, you know, so that's no fun. It's when you want to heal and you start to feel worse. Well, that's because you're detoxing, you know, so that's why we do a 30-day miracle experiment game, because it gives you enough time to get past that awkward and then start to feel a new normal. But what if you could feel 10% more energy or 50% more energy or more clarity or more creativity? You know, what would that mean to you even financially or in relationships or in any way? So one of the things that I'm excited about is those people who are participating in these experiments and joining in these teams, they're seeing so many miracles happen in their life. And those who want to learn how to become more strong communicators, I have a special training on that is just, it's like a family of love, you know, but like, I don't know how else I would have given a TEDx talk that's now been viewed by, you know, over 2.2 million people. Honestly, like, there's a lot that goes into even creating a title like this, you know, that creating a book that when you read it, it heals you. Like, it has a healing effect. When you're sitting with Dr. Ram, the healing already starts in the communication process. So what is that kind of communication that's healing, you know, that can really touch, move, and inspire people so that they want to take action and take it long enough so they see the results in their life. And that's another thing. I'm just surprised I'm even mentioning it now, but it must be for some reason.
I'm super interested in that. So I will be reaching out, because that's obviously something I'm very passionate about, is communication.
You're good at it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So the digestive point, before we lose you, because this is it. This is our hour, but we're going to keep everybody. And I don't know, is it too much to ask to do the points? So if people are feeling lost and they don't know what they want in life, can we have those 2 points before you leave, or can you send us a video of it later? Which would you prefer?
How much time do we have right now? What is it?
Technically our hour's over, but I think everybody's okay hanging on for a minute more. 2 more minutes.
Okay, well, I'll just say for digestion, it kind of depends on what is the digestion thing. So when you book your appointment, they can help share that with you, because there's different kinds of digestion challenges, and so there's different points for those different things. But just a good one, even if you want to discover the first point for discovering what you want, then I just say go to my TEDx talk. It's just short, but it's worth it. You watch it, you can hear the story about my father, and then I teach you what is that point on how to discover what you want. And then from there, if you want to go deeper, there's 2 or 3 other points that are in the book, and we can even share those with anyone who wants to just have those. You can just I give you my permission to take a picture and share with this group as a special gift.
Yay! Oh, I'm so thankful for you. His TED Talks is not one to miss. He talks about how Dr. Ram saved his father's life, and that's what got Clint to stay a part of Dr. Naram's experience, and that became his experience. So, Clint, thank you so much for joining us and for helping so many people. I just watch you in awe at all the things that you're doing in your day-to-day to help other people, and just a genuine big thank you for serving the world so much. We all love you so much. Thank you.
Oh, so fun. It feels so good to be with you all. Yeah, thank you so much.
Blessings on your path for silence too. I'll be thinking of you and holding you in my heart for that. That's beautiful that you get to do that for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a little scared, actually. I'm a little scared. I've never done it for that long. Longest I've ever done is 10 days, not a whole month. And it's a little scary, but I'm excited, but it's intense. Someone said to me, she's like, oh, I'm so glad you get to take a break. I was like, it's silence like that is not a break. That's intense.
A lot of
That's a
work.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just had a thought. I've been saying I'll put it in the group chat, but this will go on YouTube. So before I close this out, I will put this in the links on YouTube or social media. But is there one place that they can, do you suggest going to like Dr. Clint Rogers on Facebook on your like page, or?
You can go to Dr. Clint G. Rogers on Facebook or Instagram, but I think the best way is myancientsecrets.com, myancientsecrets.com. That's where you can learn how to join the Miracle Dream Team or the 30-Day Miracle Experiment Challenge. When you get the book from there, it automatically donates to an orphanage in Nepal, and so many good things happen.
Oh, yay! Thank you, and thank you everyone who showed up today, and Crystal especially for being vulnerable and asking a question. I love you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Clint.
Care on your 30
We
days.
love you, Sarah. Thank you for making this happen for us. We love you. Thank you, Clint. Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys.